we are live with a surprise Team SBFF podcast. Hey, welcome to the show.
Drink it in.
Drink it in. That's right. Hey, speaking of, maybe not Max. Yeah, Max. Maybe Max shouldn't drink it in. Max, you take it easy. Maybe you drink some water. Drink that in.
Yeah, drink less in.
That's right. By the way, did you hear anywhere? So what he absolutely destroyed himself with was peanut butter whiskey.
Peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, which I kind of knew was a thing, but I didn't think grown-ups drank.
Seems like it'd be hard to drink half a bottle of that too.
Well, apparently it wasn't hard at all. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe it's just too, like, I assumed it's just candy and water put together.
Jelly shooters in between.
That's right. Okay, so I gave no notice. I told nobody we would be doing this. So we will find out if anybody's actually online on a Monday night.
Harassed people into harassing me as if we didn't already have this scheduled on the last one. That
is absolutely fair. I have not let on, and then people have kept going like, hey, you should really try and get, like, oh, geez, I don't know that can happen.
He's pretty busy.
We've been trading some really good ideas. So I'm excited to do this. One, because, we did so many of these together back while we used it as a tool to kill everybody in the game. I think it'll be super
crazy. When I heard you, like, the first one we did 8 years ago, I'm like, no, oh God.
Yeah. I found the old files and I was like, oh, how, like, that wasn't that long ago. And then I looked at them, like, created in 2012. I was like, oh yeah, that's
podcast is number 10 still glitchy, and
yeah, still having some challenges with it. It's a problem. Only a select few people have heard it. That's right. So, hey, we're gonna catch up and talk about some interesting things today. One of them, we'll get to these main topics after we do a little Q&A with you. But we're gonna find out how you feel about being the Tony Gwynn of FedEx, right? Like, I thought that was a interesting commentary. You've got some interesting ideas about the FedEx growth plan and what we could do to feed it.
Bouncing around in there for a while.
Yeah, and also we'll talk a little bit about what fixing the game might look like. You tried some really creative things, and while maybe not all of them hit, we'll dig into them because
it's average. You can't get them all,
Yeah,
even Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn, right? 3 out of 10. You can. Sometimes it looks like a slump, but then pitch number 8 comes, and you're okay after that.
It's all about OBP too,
It's so true. Hey, so before we continue, that shirt you have on, which says it's your drinking shirt.
Yeah.
So if I was to order one of these today, would it just come with the word Bill on it?
They're starting to put pictures on the back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay.
Floating Oompa Loompa head.
Oh, floating Oompa Loompa. You have no idea. I think Chris and I regret turning it off.
That wasn't an option to watching that.
I'm certain we could convince Bill to come back on and show us the Oompa Loompa head. I'm sure we could convince him to do that. All right. So, hey, let's dive in. I think most of the people who are on with us know Team SBFF. They know Alan Scott and Genocide. And I assume Genocide is who you're most known for playing. Is there anybody who would know you better for something else?
A lot of people don't know I'm Adam Draven also.
In that case, I have some bad news for you because we're going to make some jokes that you're going to find uncomfortable.
There's no prison rape ones. Those hit too close to home.
That's awful. No, seriously, was there a Fed where you were known as somebody else, or a place or a time when you weren't playing Geno?
I can't imagine there's anybody that knows me by an alt more than Geno, but I've had a few. I got them wrote down here. Forgive my awkward silence. Here we go. Back in C-Slam, I started believe it was either September or October of '97. I just got out of high school, started college. It was really the first time I had regular internet access.
Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
aware of the game and signed in, but couldn't really play. But that was the first time I really played. Used my leftover financial aid money and went to Circuit City. Got me a PC.
Oh my gosh, that's so.
Dropped out
It
of
sounds
college
familiar.
to concentrate on my pretend wrestling.
Yeah.
So you know how that goes.
Well, I mean, I can only assume you did better in pretend wrestling than you did in school. So.
It was DeVry, so.
Well, and also, I mean, Geno's a Hall of Famer. Like, has your school called and said we want to put you in the Alumni Hall of Fame?
No.
And that's why we're talking about FedEx and not about DeVry.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while I get student loan bills, but
Yeah, I'm sure.
you don't have to pay those. It's just like hospital bills. You don't have to pay those either.
Yeah, they're optional.
Of course, you know, especially for you, right?
Well, listen,
That
I did my
Australian
best.
system.
I tried to get you guys to understand Australia is the greatest nation in the world.
I mean, I'm stuck in a heel country, you know. Maybe
Your
we're in
country has
the
been swerving all kinds of things.
Yeah,
That's so
heel
true.
America. How, like, that was before Trump.
I was gonna say, it
You
was
also have
funnier
some-
before it was 100% true. Oh,
Yeah.
good times. So
Alts. I
Yeah.
had back in the early days, people would just kind of be active with their main character in two different feds. So I had like Geno and G-Man. I'd be in CCW is where I was mostly from, but then I would dabble in CWF or a different fed.
yeah,
I got in pretty early. I think it was CWF, CCW, CEW when I joined. And then I think a couple months later, they had the expansion into CBF and CWO. But Geno, and I had a guy named G-Man that was just Geno. But then
but with like a superhero mask on, or
and then I sent him over to CCW, and it's a feud with Geno and test his skills, which was, you know, jobbing. But that
speaking
was,
of jobbing to
that was
yourself,
kind of one of the cool things about C-Slam's engine, I think, aside from the jobbing, but just the heat. Get people to fight you, and that's how you got strong.
yeah.
And then people figured out, well, I can just ask this guy to fight me, or I'll fight you 5 times, you fight, and then kind of ruined it. But
Right. And by ruined it, you mean made it only for smart people? Because that's definitely how I hear. I heard about it. I figured it out and started to get an idea, and then somebody's like, "Oh yeah, you're totally onto how this works." And then overnight, started winning significantly more matches.
well, then you had to have the move list too.
Right. Always the move list. Speaking of jobbing to yourself, did I tell you that I blatantly jobbed to myself in the barroom brawls?
No, but I feel like there was a Legacy Invitational where that might have happened. I don't know.
So at the time, because back then nobody knew who.
Oh, yeah, didn't you say you got 2 guys into the finals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a squash, and they were so Death Wish, who had come up with Nighthawk in IMA, was on the board of doom, and somebody was talking absolute trash about the post I put up with one of my characters, and Death Wish let him go on and on about, like, how does he get to the finals? And this guy's terrible. He's a horrible writer. He should never have been squashed by Nighthawk. I can't believe. And then finally Death Wish just went, "Hey, you get that Nighthawk was both of them, right?" And he laid one down so he didn't have to put in the work, and just walked over him with half an effort from the other one. And the guy was like, "What?" Like, yeah, he beat everybody on both sides of the bracket. And it was such a good moment. I was like, "Oh man, Tay, I love that you just took up that fight for me on the board of doom." So good.
Like how minimal was the effort? Was
So I had been writing. Yes, I had been writing a story. So on one side, I had been going through it with Ed, and classic Ed, right? Like everything's just a fight. And so the theme was for the round was trouble behind bars. And so I'd been writing a story with Hawk, knowing that
Grayson story.
That's right. So Hawk tells this whole story, and I finished the story and I kind of truncated and wrapped it up quickly. But with Ed, I was just like, trouble behind bars. And so, like in a total Ed fashion, I was like, so I picked a fight with a bunch of bikers in a bar, and we went out behind the bar and had a fight. And the guy was like, just ragged all over. It was like, barroom brawls. And I finished it in like 700 words, like zero effort. You get more in an average Benny Blair post or Kansas Kid post in terms of effort than you. I didn't even spend time thinking about it. I was just like, right, done.
I mean, if you've already won both sides of the brackets,
pick somebody. I even don't even care. I mean, I put a little more effort in because at the time, Nighthawk was the character that I was more known for, and Ed was. It didn't matter if Ed won. Like it had no effect on Ed as a character. Whereas Hawk, there was a little prestige issue. But if they'd turned around and gone, I just like Ed's, but like fine. Like who cares?
Why did you even turn one in for Ed?
Oh. All right. So let's keep going with the questions. How did you first?
I got a couple alts here. I got a couple.
Oh, you got more alts. More alts for a guy who didn't have many alts. You got a list.
I back in C-Slam, I had my friend play the game and he didn't like it, so I took over his character. His name was Bulldog.
Creative.
Kind of generic, yeah.
Yeah.
Ended up in a stable with alts of Cool Breeze and Robbie Rob. And this was just our joke stable. We were the new dojo. We were a parody of Funky Nassau's stable. And we worshipped Shintax was his name, I think. Sort of like Ninja. We worshipped him. And
yeah.
I remember once we had the cruiserweight title. You remember those where he had to be under 500?
Yep.
We had the like a blitz for the cruiserweight title, and I was like right under 500, but I won the title and people kept losing to me, so I was over 500. So I RP'd that his Bulldog just had like a pizza roll addiction, and he just kept getting fatter and fatter and like above the weight limit. That's basically all I remember from him. Let's see what I got here.
Well, while you're looking for that,
James Miller, Geno's son. I pretty much just brought him to squeeze more points out of the Max Entropy feud and tag with Emereza Entropy. I had a guy named Hate. My first day in CWF, the message system, I messaged everybody and said, I hate you. And then within like a day, I got a message from a paper bag man. He goes, Geno, is that you? It was pretty much over after that.
That ruins it, that he picks it up right away.
I guess I consider Larry Taylor an alt-in line now. I've RP'd with him a few times.
You really have taken Taylor and kind of made him your own. That there's no question about that.
And that was Strife really, because always the heel announcers love Geno, but Strife is the one that turned it up to a creepy place. Geno Bear.
Strife gets a lot of love for a guy who doesn't really engage the community, and actually, can we just admit it? The fact that the one person he engages is Price is disturbing on a deeply concerning level. I mean, we made it how many minutes into we didn't make it very far into a podcast, and Price is already on the podcast asking how old your daughter is now. So, like, this is not a man that you should have as your primary point of contact back to.
Yeah, I feel like he said he emailed me. I got pretty good security on the. I got like a pedo filter. I think it just spammed him right out of there. So sorry.
100.
Sorry, Price. I don't.
I should apologize to Price. The last podcast I gave away Christmas presents, and I really should have given him a wife that liked him more than she likes me. I mean, I don't know if maybe she's too old now. Maybe that's why he doesn't care.
Probably, yeah. I had an alt named Rudolph. A bunch of guys got together and did like a Christmas stable.
No, come on. Did you find at least a way to douche it up? Because otherwise it does not sound like you.
I actually ended up swerving the rest of the stable and tried to start the reindeer world order. So, what's that smell? That's me, because I just took a shit in the ring. That was my catchphrase.
That's so wrong.
I had a character named Juliet that was just there to try to swerve Chevy. She was like a French girl, and I think like day 2, I posted under the wrong name and just said, "Oh, fuck it."
Damn it.
Ah!
Speaking of, any
also
risk?
got a commissioner named CEO that actually replaced Lars in CIF, and he was talking about all those guys he brought up. Yeah, he fucked my Fed up. He fucked it up good. Took Vigilante, all that.
That was the job of the next. Wait, is it like that was when you were the Fed above? Like your job was to go, hey, I got to bring those guys up and leave you a vacuum and hope that you can cultivate the next wave that I'm going to take from you.
Right, and this is just where it wasn't that hard. It was the only indie Fed, so just everybody that signed up got funneled into there. So,
right.
But I want to say that month I got promoted to CCW, where I had 2 wrestlers jobbing to each other at the same time.
There's the Geno we all know and love.
And the slammer there, I guess he didn't realize you weren't supposed to be in your own Fed. Well, you just be in my own Fed. So what do I do?
Gosh, that's hilarious.
I should have kept my mouth shut, but people already weren't a big fan of it, and which I found funny because everybody was doing it. Yes. I just made an angle out of it. And it was almost more, are we just going to do this? All right, if we're going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I get punished for it, hopefully like other people are, no, you're just going to let me do it. Okay.
I do think that is better than the way people were doing it and not acknowledging it. So,
and they're like, we're going to set up tournaments.
100%.
I was always way too lazy for that. Big surprise.
So, are you going to drop your current alts as well in this conversation?
Oh yeah, I guess I do got a new one. Jackie Douglas. He's want to do something different, but at the same time, I'm a 41-year-old dude now. Am I really saying I'm a 23-year-old cool guy, or when? So I want to be something different, but still, I'm not interested in winning titles. I'm not even a wrestler, but I can use my life experiences and experiences in the game and be a manager character, which I've kind of wanted to do for a long, long time, but never quite could make the transition.
Yeah, I thought so first of all, there's a similarity both in some of the writing structure and the way that you advance plots and come up with these great twists to them. I see a lot of similarity there between the way you write and the way Randy writes. And Marlo like really in our last run, like, yeah, he got in the ring, but it was almost secondary to the way he played the supportive leadership guidance role in the good guys.
We did Sorvis first, which was a real heel move from him. I gotta say.
Oh. And there has been, I think, some interest already in I love that your idea was like, I'm managing these 3 guys. By the way, here they are. Let me tell you a little bit about them so that if somebody wants to play one of them, you can, which I thought was a cool idea.
And that's kind of how I did James, Geno's son. He went through first I gave him to Omega, and then Magnificent just started posting as him one day, which I like the moxie of it. Go for it.
Yeah, just like showed up as your NPC. I have more than once actually had that idea and been like, I don't think I can pull it off. But more than once I was like, I might show up tomorrow as Demi Matrix and just start like screwing with the kid. And then I was like,
You'd have to read Kansas Kid posts.
We'll get to that. Because I think that we're going to have a different position on that one. But those characters are, I think, interesting. I really like that the only stipulation you laid down is that you can't make Little Grande.
Little Grande.
Who has now become affectionately known on Discord as Fat Taco. You can't make him skinny. That's the only rule.
And I actually created him in a like wrestling video game, Create a Wrestler. Made like the fattest, shortest little luchador I could make and watch them jump around and do stuff. It's just funny to watch.
So now what you're saying is if somebody plays him, you'll be able to picture it in your head.
Yes. Good
times.
Also, LeJeff had a spin with Geno's son too.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
I don't know that I knew that. Or maybe you told me it was LeJeff,
because I ended up getting him back, and I was like, "Hey, have you checked out my latest posts with James?" He's like, "Oh, I wasn't reading those. I thought that was LeJeff."
That might be true. So I did hear that LeJeff is the official word was not interested in us. And I was like, what do we do?
I can't think of anything.
I think we're still friends on Facebook. How can we be mad at each other? So
maybe he was re-listening to the podcasts. I don't know.
All right.
No, when he came on, because I organized, like, all right, guys, we're going to laugh at him. And I didn't need to do it. We all would have done that, whether or not I said a word, because his voice was so funny.
So first of all, he's French Canadian, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. And so,
yes.
So you pick up the accent quickly. And then as we learned from my early podcast, like if you don't have a good mic, all of a sudden you sound like 5 octaves lower or higher, I guess is the answer.
And I'm sure he was nervous as hell, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Going into the Shark Tank.
That's exactly the right terminology.
Going into the Shark after me and Benny got Brad Rose in there.
Also terrible. First of all, Brad said he was coming back to play. Brad, start posting. What's the deal? Do not pay any attention to
that. Vlad.
Stop. We've already apologized. We will continue to not bring that up. The actual content of his interview was interesting.
We got to change our ways, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
First
of all, there's no renewable resources anymore. So we have to maybe be a little bit more conservative in the way we consume resources. It's not like in the Slam where we could just keep a tally and be entertained.
And they just came out everywhere.
They showed up. I mean, I showed up from everywhere. I don't know about the rest of them. That's right.
Okay. All caps.
Solo.
Take you to Leprechaun Land. Oh, Leprechaun is Lepercon. Oh, no idea. It's Leprechaun.
That is solo level quality. I like it.
I don't take it.
If somebody wants to post on St. Patrick's Day, Leprechaun is your actual character. Make it happen. You'll get sold like crazy. That's a Hall of Fame moment all by itself.
And that was back when, 75% of them were stone cold, here to whip your ass,
Who was it? Oh, Titus. Terrific Tony Rubbs was on the last one and talked about being in a stable with SCSA Stunner. And it was all I could do to not go, oh, I remember that guy. And I like that was your name completely discredits you in our super serious world.
Stone _cold 6969 420.
100%.
I feel like that's a character that can be started right now, though.
The Undertaker retired and then went to FedEx. Let's just see somebody play that.
So I think we want to talk about Tony Gwynn, huh?
No, let's first, before we talk about your Tony Gwynn status, let me just ask, do you remember how you first came to FedEx?
Yeah, I remember, obviously it was around when FedEx first started. And I knew, obviously heard about it, saw the advertisement. I wasn't, Max says running on fumes. I was running heavy on fumes at that point. So that didn't sound great. A lot of, you got to post 1,800 times this week to get full heat. Or however many times.
I can imagine you were lazy.
But it seemed like really strict, and we didn't know each other, but
right.
You obviously had the douchebag reputation.
Were you jealous?
I hadn't quite honed in on that yet, I was.
I find that so hard to believe.
Yeah, that was you. That was you. Like, no, I'm not a douchebag. I'm a prick. No, you're a douchebag. I'm an asshole. No, you're a douchebag. He's right. I am a douchebag. That's
yeah. Well,
it's like
Price told me with Grayson.
You and Strife really. There are a few guys that. Oh, they're writing my character better than I am. I should adjust.
I think Price was the one who said to me, I think if you and Geno end up in a Fed together, you're gonna that was just for Max, was it?
Yeah. He warned me too.
Did he?
I was going, me and XS, I joined I'd been gone for like 5 years. I missed all of the Pika Zap. I missed, stuff like that, which.
Missed is the wrong word. Avoided.
But also missed the, we weren't really doing grading like the rolling role play system. It was just more of a rewrite. If you won, you rewrote. Winners get finishing rights. We weren't doing that kind of stuff when I left. It was a really, really different game when I came back.
Yeah.
But also I was, energized. I had years and years worth of angles popping around in my head ready to go. I had Hank Hooligan ready to go. Fibio ready to go.
That Hank Hooligan angle was really good.
And it comes off like I was burying Hank Hooligan. That's not what I was doing. I wanted to have a match with Hank Hooligan. I came in and I did, I think Stoner Boy's talking about, maybe somebody was talking about it, that the Genocide is coming. I just did vignettes for a month.
Right.
Great moments in Genocide history. And just people were sick to death of me before I even actually did a post, and Hank Hooligan was the guy that kind of stepped up. He was the King of Karma champion. He was the ace, you know.
Right.
And so let's go after that guy. And so first show, I went in I went posted the whole month, and at the end of the pay-per-view, I came and kicked Hank Hooligan in the face, you know. Gave him a mouthful of Geno. And obviously got a little testy there, with mostly from him. I was never angry. I was doing my job. And it was my style, I think, was a shock to them as much as the game had changed for me.
Yeah.
But I was always able to like role play and do angles and stuff, and make you hate me. I could do both of those.
You sure could. So, changing gears then from the beginning to the end, and I don't mean like recently, but obviously like 6, 7, 8 years ago, the game really died. And you were one of the last people to hang on. Do you remember what the last days were like for you? Like, when did you know it was done?
Everybody was telling me. Rude was on it years before the game is dead. The game is dead. And I think it's something we all kind of knew.
Yeah.
But we're kind of in denial about. And this next comeback will be different. And
right.
you can tell we were in denial because you just kept coming back and doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing, burning each other out, pissing each other off. That's the funniest thing. People are like, oh, the inner circle, the Powerbase. You have no idea. Like, these guys love each other, but they're button heads. Like, the whole talent is because you got pissed at Lars and Eve over. Like,
100%. And here's the thing. Lars has, I think, shared openly with other people, like, one of the things that happened at that time when we did that is he said, like, I was pissed that they went without me. Like, I wasn't happy that they didn't invite me. I was a little jealous, a little bitter, but I was bitter because I had done all that work with Alan to basically douche like the whole, we're going to do multiple feds and crown like an Uber champion, like the old NWA style. And so I took my icon status and basically put myself in a position to win every individual title. So the original inauguration match would have just been me versus me. Like, I worked crazy hard to be able to do it, and they blocked it. And I'm not even saying it was.
I think Hawthorne blocked it too.
But so yeah, we'll talk about your douchey fed.
I got a little.
But I was done. Like, I was like, hey, I did all the work, and you don't have a good reason to stop me other than it's not right that you do it. I'm like, what do you mean it's not right? Like it's amazing that I did it. And so we had
I tried to think in character as much as possible when I was making decisions about. So, in character, we have this match to sell. Nobody's going to buy just Alan Scott verbally masturbating. So we've been building this main event match. We need it.
So the match ultimately went to my man Stan Daniels, who righted your wrong in his very first title defense. He just laid down and was like, I lose. My man. I got you, Stan Daniels, for life.
They don't call him Man Daniels because he's a lady.
But you're not wrong, right? Like, I think a lot of people talk about that inner circle and that dynamic and that exclusive club. And the truth was, first of all, and you're living proof of it, the easiest way into the club is to role play and put some effort in. Like there was no secret recipe. Get in there. And you did. And as a byproduct, then they looked at you and went, well, Geno's in the inner circle. Like, there was this secret club, and we were just setting each other up. Like, we had all kinds of headbutts, and we had all kinds of moments where we were ready to.
Don't suck. Don't be a bitch.
Right.
Those are the rules. Like,
and there were difficult times. For sure there were difficult times. I will tell you guys, like Tim and I go back, like way back, and multiple times ball games in Chicago, and Gary's I can't remember. I was there for his wedding. I don't think Tim could make it, but we went on New Year or maybe Halloween one time and just hung out in his bar, and like we spent time together. It doesn't mean that when we got into FedEx that we didn't bang heads and go like, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that, or have stupid fights that,
I mean, even us as SBFFs, we've had plenty of arguments over designated hitter and how you like the diluted baseball and I like the real version. And
there's nothing as exciting as watching a pitcher try and hit. That's shit.
It's like watching Shaq shoot free throws or watching a defensive tackle return a fumble. That's part
First of all, putting Shaq on the free throw line is a strong defensive move. Putting a pitcher at the plate is boring.
Less specialization. That's my thing.
We're going to have to hold up a whole separate baseball podcast for this.
Most catchers can't hit. Most shortstops can't hit. Let's just have 9 designated hitters.
No, the game has changed.
They don't even really need fielders. It's just all strikeouts, walks, and homers now. So.
That's right. We are totally going to have to spin back around.
Have cardboard cutouts. If it bounces off them, you're out. Oh, touchdown.
Cardboard cutouts would fit with what we do.
Very true.
Right? That's the first time the AOD decided that, or at least Naked decided that I was a jerk. I showed up in my first major. I think it was with Ed.
By the way, I think I judged your match with Holy Evil you were talking about. I was a judge for that.
Listen, it's a kill no matter how you dice it. Like, I went with the most painful experience for him. And if he doesn't think that was strategic, he doesn't know who he's playing against.
I don't know if he knew you were Nighthawk.
Yeah.
I think he knew. I don't know.
Yeah. I get it. It was a terrible experience for him. I was determined to win it.
It was pretty terrible for me too. Nighthawk wins, I guess.
You love Nighthawk. Why do you pretend you don't? I'll show everybody the messages you've sent me about him.
Okay.
All right.
He's no Joe Power, but I like Prick Ray Joe Power.
Pernicious Joe Power. Good times. I got to tag with Of Terror being Pernicious Joe. So the game died. Almost a decade ago. What'd you do with all your free time?
Just pretty depressed without like pretend wrestling championships to really.
I don't know how you got by.
Like Kansas kid was right. A loveless marriage. Now I have a douchebag kid. You little douchebag, just climb on your lap. Oh, that's sweet. No, I'm here to fart on you. Here's my kid. Where my wife's dropping her off at grandma's house. They're ding dong waiting on the doorstep. My kid, come the fuck on, grandma. She's like 3 or 4. Wife's like, you don't say that word. What word? Fuck. Yes, you don't say that word. Why? That's for grown-ups, not for little girls. So she thinks about it for a couple seconds. I'll just say it in my fucking room.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm dealing with.
Well, I wonder what the influences are that would have created that.
I don't know. Maybe I like to take stuff away from her and laugh like the $1 Million Man. No, you can't have Cheerios.
It's a pretty good $1 Million Man.
I like the one where he had a little kid come up and dribble the basketball, and if you get the 10 on, he kicks it. He'll give you $500 and kicks it when he gets the 9.
Just laughs at him. Hey, not to be ignoring the guys who actually caught this live. So Eliezer, the prophet, wants to know what you think about the current resurgence in FedEx, the explosion of activity and players that have returned in relatively a super short period of time.
I'm excited. I mean, not to. There was a little bit of a mild depression with the game gone. It's more like I don't want to smoke crack right now, but the fact that there's no crack kind of makes me sad. I don't want to smoke it right now, but the fact that I can't go smoke the crack, that's
right.
A little depressing. Nobody's talking about my great crack exploits. You remember that huge rock Geno smoked? Oh my God. That's a little sad.
That's good.
So it's good to see stuff going.
Was there something specific you missed about the game? Anything particular that you would point to?
Just the rush of you put a good post up, or just even a line, or even like what I called Cremo in the results. He won a title. Congrats, Cremo. And just knowing that 15, 20 minutes later, the next day, I'm just start getting ding, ding, ding. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just that. And also, just the downtime in your day.
Wait, hold on. Let me pause. How could you blame me for telling you you're a douche when your natural instinct is to do stuff like call Cremo in the results? Like I didn't make you a douche. I just made you realize that's what you are.
Yeah, that's true. And I did call Cremo in results. I did make the name Cremo up, allegedly. But also, I spent a lot of time talking to that freaking Cremo. And, trying to get him in, weird guy.
To be a little...
There'd be things like where he'd plan some angle with me to get back at, like, Eve and Nate Daniels. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But they can't know it's me. I'm like, then what are we doing? Like, what are we... Then this is just you being like, I'm not sure what's going on.
Cremo?
Yeah, and then he had like, step 1, wrestle. Step 2, podcast. Step 3, step 4, profit. Remember that? Like where he was, and he was really excited about it. And
oh my gosh. Did he ever?
I really tried to cultivate Cremo because I feel like he could have been a chance type like person, which is you're not winning a Pulitzer, but you're on the board, you're keeping stuff moving, you're interacting with anybody, everybody. So one of my tools when we get back to the 5-tool players, because I'm not Tony Gwynn. I'm a 5-tool player.
Listen. You hit for average, and you stay with the franchise for a long time. Those are your claims to fame.
I'm Barry Larkin, 5-tool player.
First of all, are you legitimately a Reds fan? Is that a thing?
Legitimately, yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm old enough to see him win a World Series, so.
Yeah, barely.
I think right before the Blue Jays won, actually, right?
Did they? No, that was at least a few years before that.
Reds won in 90.
Did they win? Okay, so
92, 93?
92, 93, that's right. All right, so it's a couple of years before. What's that?
Joe Carter.
Joe Carter. A whole bunch of babies were born because of Joe Carter.
All right, so I was thinking about what would a 5-tool, if you want to make a 5-tool pretend wrestler.
So I love that you've been thinking about it. So, I mean,
hit for average. You have good day-to-day gimmick. You have catchphrases and just regular angles and regular matches. You're good day-to-day.
Okay.
So you're selling people stuff. You're moving the Fed along. Chances.
We're talking about right now. We're talking about you, Tony Robes.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Weed Man,
Nothing special, nothing spectacular.
but we're talking about you, Tony Rose.
Nothing maybe even that interesting. Tony Rose.
Woof.
Hitting for power. I feel like that's your big moments. Those are your big angles, your swerves,
Okay.
your big matches, your fed wide angles, hitting for power.
Now, do you have to win them, or do you just have to really leave a mark in them?
No, just I consider, Geno, Alan, and the King of Wrestling. That's one of my power moments.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Some of my best matches were King of Wrestling against, or not King of Wrestling, OWC against Stuntman, which I should not have lost.
Yeah, I can't believe you lost that.
And I would like to apologize
to
to him because, it was the fact that I had so many people in my ear, wow, you're kicking his ass, you're kicking his ass. And he was one of them. You're kicking my ass, you're kicking my ass. To the point, and I'm got my best angles at the end. I'm finishing, I'm kicking his ass, and I'm finishing strong. And if I'd had a, few hours, think about it, wake up in the morning, read the results, I'm like, man, he did this, he did that, he did this. He did some good stuff, but he had the results in like 12:24.
Wow.
How can he write that fast? I mean, he brought a time travel guy in, so I built it to there's like a time paradox where the whole angle was Geno was swerving excess because that was starting actually the whole
Wait, was it New Year's Eve?
No, that was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that in October.
Well, I can tell you, Price thought about it.
He wanted to stay undefeated till the end of the year. I was like, New Year's Eve.
Again, a douche.
A douche. So what were we? Where were we on?
We've made it through two tools: hit for average, hit for power.
Hit for power. Phibia awareness. Hey, Cooligan. Those are my powers. Good guy.
Good guys. Yeah.
Out there, man. Let's see. What was my next tool? Speed. It's activity, hustle. Chance is fast. Being on that's activity, hustle. Pretty self-explanatory. You don't have to be active all the time, but when you're active, you're active.
Right.
And,
I get that.
Few people are, chances, stealing bases, head first slides. A lot of people like that, but
Chance has to steal. She's a chick. She can't earn it.
All right. Fielding. This is your butt hurt defense. There's a lot of people that have a lot Kitty has some skills, but no defense. That butt hurts just going. There's a lot of people like that. Just that. Oh man, they'd be okay if they just could be a little bitch. Some people develop it, like you were talking about Battlestone, and
yep.
Some people don't.
Right.
And it's all not taking yourself too seriously, not taking your character too seriously.
Right. And so have you had a moment where you look back and you're like, okay, clearly I didn't have my defense right there?
I think that would be me and Lars's issue in CCW because we had such a great angle going. It was head shades, very similar to, Triple H marrying Stephanie and Stephanie turning on Vince, and, couldn't quite turn that feeder off when I was talking to the commission, but I didn't think I had to because, we were running an angle, and I'm sure if we could just got together and talked instead of, the little message systems, we just, speaking of that, we just got together on ICQ. I'm live streaming on ICQ right now. 1489-7463. 28769.
Well, let's take a vote. Does anybody else miss ICQ? I think the modern messaging system is inferior in all aspects.
Oh, I got another one. Oh. Comet Meeker's watching.
What's that?
Comet Meeker is watching.
Nice. Okay. So I've clearly had a couple of those. Let's just give up on winning stable wars when we're right on the cusp of defeating the network and run a stupid like vampire bloodline angle sucked. And my defense was not what it needed to be.
Yeah. You know, we've all had one. Like, not gonna lie. Kansas Kid, he's found some holes in my butthurt defense a little bit.
Literally.
Not too many though. Well, yeah. Maybe literally. We'll talk about Empire though later.
We'll get to Empire.
And then the fifth tool is the throwing arm. And I was a little bit torn on this, whether I wanted to go through admin, being able to be a commissioner.
Game building.
It was more your teamwork, tag teams, stables, alliances, stuff like that. Because I don't know if you can be a complete player if you're just doing it on your own.
Solo all the time. It's interesting. So a couple of questions for you before we dig into this one. You did not score for Sim, which I think is right, but clearly you don't see that as part of one of the 5 tools.
No, that there was a certain time where I might have.
Yeah.
But like Max, I'd kind of come to the conclusion Max did that the Sim is there just to point you in the direction of an ending, And
what you're saying is you and Max are basically the same person.
I mean, I live in a much better state. I don't, our college football teams like win games and don't like little kids in the locker rooms and showers and stuff.
Wait, so you're against that because you and XS have a long history. I'm so confused right now.
I feel like Geno kind of feels like the XS stuff is kind of fake news. I've never seen him with the kid.
It's not real if it happens in Thailand.
I mean, they got different laws there, I mean,
I'm certain.
Were we to apply our, first world view onto these developing countries? I mean,
All right. I'm already disturbed enough.
My great-grandma was 13 when she married my 31-year-old great-grandpa. So, I mean, situations are different.
That can't be real.
I have an Appalachian heritage, so I had some people down in the hills.
One of the other things you didn't include in your 5 tools was selling.
And I was with that with my my judging criteria a little bit. Yeah. I consider like selling is part of dialogue. Selling is part of selling is just part of everything. You can't that's
I don't know. Because there's some people who can't do it.
Selling is like I can't walk, I can't run. Well, then you can't hit, you can't run the bases, you can't do anything. You need to play maybe like
Little League.
Wheelchair rugby. That looks fun. I mean, if I was ever to cripple myself, I'd probably play that.
So you think, based on your criteria, the 5 tools, and by the way, I'd love to hear from everybody else on what you think the 5 tools are for a 5-tool player, but you think Geno's not
Tony I think boners are a big tool.
What's that?
I think boners are a big tool.
Yeah.
Some people think that.
I think boners wish they had a big tool. So your position is contrary to the argument that Geno is Tony Gwynn, you think you're a 5-tool player. You think you're a Ken Griffey Jr.
With Seattle.
Right. Not with Cincinnati.
I don't want to talk about him since today.
Oh.
That's as depressing as nobody posting in FedEx.
All right. Who else is a 5-tool player?
You.
Thank you.
You do all that stuff. Strife.
This whole thing would have been way better if you only picked me and we were like, I mean, we really do carry everybody.
I got a list of my
Strife for sure. No
my
question.
Fed here. It's way more than. And also I thought about splitting up comedy but you know, I don't feel like you have to be funny to be a 5-tool player. But,
good. I think good story is good story. It could be funny. It could be super serious. It could be.
Storm's a 5-tool player.
Who is?
Storm. Rude.
Yeah.
Stan Daniels. I like Marlo.
For sure a 5-tool player.
A lot of older guys are. Some of the
Hey.
tools really playing with them, but
I really do need to at some point address the fact that, you know, my adopted grandfather and my real fake internet wrestling cousin don't get along. How are you not naming Ryan Scott?
he's a little slow on the bases.
Okay. I mean,
Got the other 4.
so we might be talking 4-tool player. Because I want to back you up here, but
you know, not
you are a
everybody.
little slow on the bases. You had time to write a book and not time to post in FedEx. I mean, I'd like to defend you, but we'll take it up at the family picnic this summer.
Like all the good guys are 5-tool players for sure. Not
Yeah.
excess. I mean,
I think XS falls into the same victimhood as Ryan Scott, right? Like,
yeah, he
all
can.
the tool-
He's had some quick times, but
right. And when he's in those
X
times,
is
he's
more
fine.
like just forgets to run to the next base. He can get there. He just. I'm good
Just
on
gets
first.
distracted by a shiny nickel in the corner.
You're a cute 10-year-old, you know.
Price says he's 2.5 tools, and
2.5 inches. You said what?
yeah, that's 100%. That's he was strategic in his pursuit of a bride. Also,
I don't think we ever got to how I got to FedEx. Let's get back to that.
we'll get back to that. So Chance says Rude doesn't have the hustle to be 5 tools, and
Rude's had hustle. Rude is. I've seen.
he's
him
gone through periods. It's been a while, but he's definitely gone through those periods. And when he's in those periods, like he and Storm were in one of those periods at the same time in the 3 months leading up to King of Wrestling.
Yeah,
And
that was
like,
pretty much when I got to FedEx.
yeah, I genuinely believed that Rude was going to enter King of Wrestling as the superstar champion. I just figured Eric couldn't hold him off forever.
But he also, around that time, he started. Rude was in the hospital or something, and he started wrestling his like alts and his like molester uncle and stuff. Molester, something.
So,
I didn't follow the angle that close, but he started posting trauma. I think he posted as, and he
did post his trauma. Hey, before we get off,
I think you always get dinged, especially in like a, you know, when they're judging your score. I know I got dinged for having been a side feed in Geno once.
Weedy posted his 5 tools. He said, make your own heat. Don't whine about not getting it. So basically, like the take control and not sit back and quit because nobody posted off you, he says is a tool. The ability to, I think the defense shows up here. He says, don't take things seriously. So I think that's what he's saying, right? Like,
yeah, you can't take the game too seriously. You can't take your characters too seriously. Geno takes Geno very seriously.
It's true.
I don't. I have him, look back. I had once when I was doing the Fibia angle, and I was, trying to get out of a title defense, and I think it was Cedrick Ceasar said if I got an examination by the pervy doctor on staff, I could get out of my match. So Geno got a multi-pronged exam to get out of the match, Of
course you did. He says, hey, one of the tools is moving things forward, like always advancing the plot with your post. Now, one of the ones he named, so selling obviously was on his list, and the other was reading other people's posts. I just want you guys to know if the requirement to be a 5-tool player was that I read everybody's posts. I'm clearly going to be out, because there are people who posted, I was like, I'll just guess what they posted, and I'll be right 9 times out of 10.
And when you've been reading them for 20 years, it's very little is going to surprise you.
Also, it's you say 20 years and it twigs a memory for me. So if I haven't told this story before, I started playing probably days after my wedding. So when I celebrate an anniversary, my wife's like, oh, it's our special day. And I was like, by our, do you mean me and everybody who role plays wrestling online? Because that's what it is. She does not find that as entertaining as I do.
I feel like if my wife ever got a hold of these podcasts, not that she'd listen to them, but if she actually did, and
there was clearly some early ones that you would be best served if she never heard.
Maybe I'll bring her on one day.
That's gone well for everybody who's brought a significant other on. If my wife walked in the room right now, I would kill this podcast with no warning. Like, just dead. I'd pull the plug on my computer. We'd be out of here.
I mean, mine walk through. I have a tighter run. I run a tighter ship here currently. So.
Rude's didn't go well. Chris's didn't go well. That's a hard no. We'll pass on that. So let's circle back around. Eventually, we're going to run out of time. Let's circle back around. How did you come to FedEx? What was the prompter that got you there?
Well, I was, role playing with you and stuff when the whole lottery crap went down.
Yep.
And my first instinct was, yeah, let's go. That's where all the talent's going to be. I mean, especially when you started getting a list of guys who were going to go, and
right.
But then at the same time, I love Bernard, Cedrick Ceasar. He got put in control of the Fed, and
I remember that.
I was like, I'll stick with you a little bit. He's like, hey, I got Hank Hooligan to come back and fight. And, he's telling me all this, and he's just sweetening the pot, and like, okay, I'll play a little bit. And
did you really think he could outsweeten me and Storm and Lars? Like, we had better.
Well, and then also I felt an obligation. I didn't want to abandon him right when a bunch of other people did. But yeah, I didn't have any interest in the early FedEx because it was too active, too strict. You were a douche. Me and Lars are still beefing. Lars was a douche. It was just too.
Well, first of all, you say too strict, but what you really mean is if you wanted full heat, you had to post a lot. Because outside of that,
the standards were higher than a regular Fed, and I was barely hanging on in the regular Fed with activity level. But there were other guys there. I had a good. I think it was the King of Karma, the role play title. Ryan Scott was still there. Strife.
Yeah.
Chevy, which, I know, but
hey, lucky you.
I kind of like playing with the guy on some level, and I beat him, and he damn sure didn't want to lose to me. So That's a good match.
One of my claims to fame in my first, decade playing was that even though we'd never been in a Fed together and never directly competed against each other, he went to one of the live C-Slam get-togethers and was not shy about telling people, I freaking hate Nighthawk. And I was like, that's right, I did that. And people were like, hey, here, Chevy hates you. And I was like, yeah, how'd you do that? No clue, but super happy about it.
Chevy's the type of guy, if he could just embrace what he'd become and actually do it, it would be great. Not gonna lie and say the good guys didn't take some inspiration from him, you know what I mean?
So you finally made the jump, though, right? You finally made the transition.
I did, and I'm glad I stayed. I got to do some stuff. I got my USOB, and and I probably would have stayed around because I knew Wrassle kind of needed to still be a thing. I'm not saying I'm gonna pillar, I'm gonna hold it together, but
you were a big name,
kinda.
Yeah.
When I left, there were 3 national feds still. And then there were 1 soon after I left. But I did stay. I got my USOB, which nobody cared about anymore, but I've been chasing one forever. I feel like if I wouldn't have stayed and kind of done Phoebe awareness there and got that reel over and got Hank Cooligan over, I probably wouldn't have ever been in the Wrassle Hall of Fame. My first run was not good enough. I needed that second run to kind of complete that. But I ended up having did shenanigans with the engine, something like 1 month, where it got to the point where everybody knew that you just buy charisma, and that's how you win. You buy charisma.
Right. And
so they changed it 1 month, but they changed it on the 5th after everybody bought their fucking charisma. And I'm complaining about it, and other people are complaining, and they're like, well, you're using a hole in the game. And what do you mean I'm playing the game how you set it up?
So I had that conversation when they took my lottery winnings away and said, you should have known it was wrong to win that way.
And it was like that, but even but you're the one that made charisma this much. And if you want to change it, fine. Don't do it after I've already bought a bunch of charisma. And it turns out I decided to just go ahead and blow my wad. And that's why I won that month. And it turned out a good decision. And I could so this is crap like this is why people are having more fun in FedEx. I actually posted that. And I saw, well, why didn't you go play there? I'm like, that's kind of what this message was saying.
Right. Do I need to spell it out for you? I will tell you.
I did show up to the, I think one of the original cards. I think Marlowe was being given the FedEx title because he was the UCE champion, I think. And I had the NGPW title at the time, and it was Lars and Maverick there. To be continued by Marlowe or something. To be continued to be continued by Geno. And again, first I'm being kicked in the face, and Geno in story, that's exactly why I didn't want to go there. Lars and Maverick, they all hate my guts. They're never going to give me a fair shot, but
there's no way that was going to be the outcome. Come on. We're all about talent. Hey, real quick, Chris, last podcast, really wanted to talk about the death of just the general game. And he was really focused on Wrassle. He held the EC to task. He hit a bunch of things. And as you talked about this, and
I feel like, did I kill Wrassle?
So So I think
I left Wrassle, activity went down. I spearheaded the talent to come back, and they shut it down because they were afraid of the talent. I feel like probably I killed Wrassle.
yeah, you might. Here's what I would argue. So I think you have a reasonable claim with genocide. If you think about what was going on and how there was 3 nationals and then it really quickly became 1 and there was this whole breakdown, I think pride killed Wrassle. And by pride, I look at the leadership and I think that they couldn't understand the message they were hearing from their consumer. And also, when they didn't have the energy.
When we were having the negotiations to come back together.
Right.
And I was in the room.
Yep.
And just everything they said, I was like, no, they don't. They're talking about the engine and like they don't get it. Like,
right.
I don't care about that.
You're missing the whole picture.
You guys can come in and be like a merger, not you come home.
Right.
Like,
and I
think they would have done something, but they were extra douchey for sure.
Yeah, they were for sure. I mean, $11 billion.
They had no. I don't think they really wanted it to happen.
No, and I think you're right. I think most people don't know how close or where we came in that conversation, and it might be worth one podcast getting together and just diving into that. But I will say, had they at any point decided
they weren't negotiating in good faith at all when they said pretty much you can have a Powerbase spot, but it can't be Grayson. Okay, and then
okay.
Don't you think that's going to kind of piss him off a little bit? And like they tried to turn us against you is what happened.
Yeah,
and it didn't happen.
I was the original person, I think, to stand up and say, hey, you guys are like, what you're doing is wrong. How you're doing it is wrong. And they never got over that because I think until then, nobody had really challenged them. They were the game at that point. You know what would have saved Wrassle? And I mean, really, really saved Wrassle? If they'd said, hey, make us X number of $100 a month. And here's the game. You guys go run it. That would have saved Wrassle.
And there are ways to make money without pay to win.
Correct.
You got to pay to get a big picture. You got to pay to get the big signature at the bottom. You got to pay to get the wrestler body.
All the non-winning pieces could have been on the table as part of the conversation. Totally agree. By the way,
I feel like if you could one time a year, I'm buying a push for this month.
Right. Sure.
It's the people that can just dump the money in. I think I spent maybe $150 my whole time in Wrassle, and I did pretty good on the engine considering. And I saved up and made my moves and didn't spend when I wasn't gonna compete that much.
I see Robert just commenting on the live stream, hey, Burnt passed away. Like, we know, and we're not actually speaking ill of him in that context. Burnt and I actually, for a number of years, lived really pretty close together. And more than once,
I know I don't know if he was really involved in the.
Right.
It was mostly Ice Hog and Philly,
which is only funny.
Kind of the go between.
Right, which is only funny because Philly and I get along just fine and talk on a semi-regular basis. And when I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm like,
bad spot.
What's that?
I feel like they'd put him in a bad spot for sure.
Yeah, they did. I don't think that was fair to him. I will say this: Hog and I were actually on good terms at one point in time.
Bengals over Steelers.
What's that?
Bengals over Steelers. Is Maxie like the Steelers? I don't know. Fuck you, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Anybody out there?
Right. Hey, so let's circle back around. We have a couple of other things. One of the things that you sent me and you said, hey, let's make sure we talk about this when we get together is maybe we don't need a maybe we don't need a feeder fed, because maybe we can go back to what we've done successfully in the past, both what they were afraid we were doing with talent, what we did do, we as in the bigger group before you were with us in Ring Wars and other places, which is, well, why don't you share? Because it was your idea, and I actually think it's a good idea.
Well, you talked about, you guys were talking about the invasion back to Wrassle. And then you're also, Lars, you said Lars sometimes will find, hey, this is a Fed that's kind of doing what we're doing. This is
right
kind of our style. Like, I feel like we could just organize invasions every so often. Every time we see, here's a place, they got some talent, but they're kind of playing a lame version.
Right.
Like I played the ones where you write your little things and then the guy writes the whole card out. And it's kind of cool, but that guy is going to get burnt. It's not sustainable at all.
Right.
The guy, he's going to get sick of it.
By the way, we talked about burnout, real non sequitur here, but you talk about guys getting burnout and it's not sustainable. I sat down and did the math once, and I'm relatively certain that over the course of my career, when we were measuring heat and writing stupid long posts and doing match judging on every match, in the course of 5 years, I wrote Lord of the Rings 6 times.
Oh yeah, it's novels and novels and novels.
Yeah, it's insane.
And then if you're doing that and you're not really having fun, then it's just you're doing it out of an obligation, or
I was gonna say pride, like when there's a lot of that. Like I lost once to Eric, and that never ever happened again. So there you go. So
Eric or wheelchair Eric?
Take your pick, because I feel the same about both of them. I lost in CWA to Storm, and Storm actually on the podcast will tell you, like, Jeff didn't lose that match. I lost to wheelchair Eric, if that's how we want to refer to him. I'll just say E. I lost to E in a match, and he's been pretty public about saying, like, I beat him, and then in the rematch, he crushed me so badly. Like, yeah, you get one, you don't get two. Oh, poor Max would be slurring by now and half asleep. And
Pennsylvania, they just cannot handle their liquor.
Was weak.
It's a shame.
It's not true. He drank like a whole bottle of whiskey. Like
peanut butter whiskey? What is peanut butter whiskey, though?
It sounds delicious. Can I put it on some bread? Maybe toast it.
Make a little maple
syrup.
I
love the idea. So I think one of the things that I would say to you, because I have really advocated more times than not how we need to return to thinking about marketing, that it's what actually draws new players in. And what you're talking about is
I heard you talking about it, CyberSlam, they advertised, and they were part of a bigger website that funneled people in. I think Wrassle advertised too.
Right. And so should we. And I think that if we want to be in this for more than 6 months, and if we can get it,
would
what's that?
$5 a month. I mean, people are paying $5 a month for shit they're not even watching now. Like,
right. So I think that's the idea. Like, let's put it to advertising. But the other side of the advertising is what you're talking about.
I don't want to just fund your bourbon money, though.
You should. You should fund my. First of all, you're in a place that you can get bourbon that I can't get. So we're going to work something out. This is Team SBFF cross-border edition. We're going to figure that out. But
that's something you can get to me.
Oh yeah.
Something that's a little more available where you're at.
Yeah, no kidding. It's super available. If I stick my head out the window, somebody will pop up and go, "You looking?" Real fast.
So, gotta love Australia.
That's right. We know what really is appropriate. The other side of the marketing opportunity, though, is that idea, and I think you termed it as like, why can't we be Vikings? Why can't we send a raiding party?
Yeah, instead of nothing other than let's just go show people what our game's about.
Right.
I feel like there are a lot of people that have talent, but they're just kind of constrained by the system they're in, and
They're constrained by what they found when what they want is what we do.
you have, and I think there are a lot of people that are afraid of letting other people control their characters. Like, that's a big no-no in these places. You write your own character. There's no interaction. Where
Yeah.
if I want to go hit you in the head with a chair, I'm going to do that here, you know?
Right.
And you can't do
So,
that. You got to
I love
look for a guy to hit him in the head with a chair.
And I'll just encourage, like, if you're watching on the live stream, or if you watch this later, go on the Discord channel and comment. Price. Oh, if only you were active, then you could lead us in this. Price posted, hey, let's go goose step into those feds. Hoods on. In classic.
And is that something that would get people like XS, people like Maxi, when he's get the juices flowing and new blood? Let's cut the heads off the ones that don't make it, and anybody else.
But if you're willing to put your hand up and say, and I don't think we need to send like 10 when we did the talent. I think we can send 3 or 4 here and 3 or 4
and
there.
It'll be different. We were going in there with history,
right?
You know, names. Where this one, we'd have to kind of be like, do they know we'd have to kind of pretend we're in the same universe. Like, we know who you are, you know who we are. We're not supposed to really talk about each other, but
I think, first of all, I think we can, as a group, find spots. So seek them out, study them, and get one person to study it and give us an update. Here's how they play. And then let the rest of us sit down and say, okay, so who do we send? Who fits the style? And how do we get them to understand we came from a rival company, and they ultimately will have the invitation to come back. Like let's do it. Let's do it with 5 or 6 places. Let's find 2 to 10 players, and then let's run a King of Wrestling and invite them to come play.
And it might have to be something where they're not used to writing that type of style. So maybe we dumb it down, or, you know,
let's do a straight up 50-50 coin flip sim tournament where there's 2 posts of back and forth or 3 posts of back and forth, short, not long. We don't have to judge it. Run the sim will tell us who wins, and run it. Like, I think those ideas,
or
like an
figure
event.
it out, you know, you can't have a DQ ending, have a quick roll up followed by a beat down revenge thing, you know, where everybody keeps their heat, you know.
Yep.
That's what you kind of have to do when you're working with different places.
If we treated it like the old NWA, what we would do is we would go in there and say, hey, I'll lay down for you in this match, but you've got to come do a match with me in my fed, and you got to lay down for me on my home turf.
Yeah, exactly. Or we just, how many of them have like boards to post on where we could just maybe be more aggressive?
Right. And this is what I'm saying. Like, let's think about it, and let's get players. If you're on the Discord channel, get in there and comment. Like, if you want to do this and you want to be part of the team that does this, like, this is what guerrilla marketing looks like in 2021.
Yeah, instead of, you know, getting ads and, oh, here's a nice logo, here's what we do. Let's just go do it to them.
So I agree, but I think it's joint. I think ads and logos go to places where they're not playing but are reading about wrestling. So news sites and stuff like that, updates on WWE, that kind of thing. But then I think,
you know, wrestling's down, but it's big on the internet. It's
huge. We're not watching it on TV because we've got a generation of people coming up for whom the TV show moves too slowly.
And it's different, you know. I remember every Monday I'd watch 5 hours of wrestling. I'd watch 1 hour of Nitro. I'd switch to Raw, and then they'd have the replay of Nitro where I could watch
the end. Yeah.
And I was Thursday, bring it. I'm ready for Thunder. I'm ready for Dusty Rhodes on WCW Saturday night and getting clubbered. You know, it's different now. People aren't that appetite for wrestling, but I think we still have the appetite for the community.
So
the appetite
I think
for
it's incumbent on us too to also balance who we send. So, like, I think if we send the Kansas Kid, we need to send somebody who's legitimately playing a straight wrestler. Like, I don't think we can load up boners and send the boners
down, or
what's that?
We just want that Fed to like close down, or
That's right. If we want to kill a Fed, we'll send the boners.
Yes.
Because I can't imagine there's a Fed out there that would welcome that. And if there is, it's on a site, guys, you really should block. It's not good for your computer.
Yeah, you're showing up on some watch lists.
That's right. Hey, Price says he saw a couple of Feds recently that are possibilities for this. I really have to know, is one of them FedEx? Because if it is, you're more than welcome to post, you lazy bastard.
Yeah, come invade us.
Why don't you do to FedEx what I'm going to do to your wife?
Wow.
The funny thing is, I talk to him like this in real life, and he is completely unfazed by it. I would never say it in front of his wife because I would be ashamed to speak that way.
One thing I will say, every time I see him and he doesn't have a thick, luxurious mustache,
it's wrong, right?
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it even looked good on his face.
Listen, that he didn't come.
I was very disappointed.
We planned his comeback podcast, the one he and I did, even with just like 3 days of growth, that he didn't shave it into that tight little mustache right there to show up for. I was disappointed.
I mean, can we get a Chucklehead reunion going maybe one of these?
I would love to do a Chucklehead reunion. I can't see how that could go bad at all.
Rude's got to be there, obviously.
Yeah, it's required. We need somebody to call you a Chucklehead.
And I feel like, is Benny a Chucklehead? I think
Benny was a Chucklehead, but I think he's kind of grown a little. And then he started posting clearly as one of the anus eye. And so now I don't know if he's grown at all.
And I don't. Who's like, I got a great idea.
Yeah.
Tory.
The idea was, I imagine it went like
Terry. Who's Terry? They just jumped on like, I need in that.
Hey, you know the boners? What if they were girls? That's how that conversation went.
It's like the Queef sisters on South Park. I have a guess.
So true.
They're stuntman.
Ooh.
Didn't he play a really disgusting?
More than one, yes.
There's one in particular. I can't remember exactly what it. It was gross, and I know it was him. So I'm gonna put my money down on the stunt man.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows, and I know Price is listening to the live stream right now. I'm going to spin it around onto a different topic. On the Discord channel right now, Cash and Carnage are talking about listening to the podcast and really appreciating some of the love they get. And Johnny XS has clearly been called out by Cash. You can lick his sack. He said he couldn't allow himself to lose to Cash in the King of Wrestling tournament. So if I think back on that,
I still can't believe Acid Ed swerved Johnny XS like that. That was so shocking.
Your memory for the details is surprising. It really is.
I feel bad because the week before he scraped by. You got to take more control of that. You gotta get your stuff in there, man. You can't react. You gotta.
Took a strong move.
I got it.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, when you do stuff like that, you're like playing like Max Entropy, you know. I'm gonna have your wife swerve you, but she's, player is not in on it.
Right. Hey, so we talked about, Viking raids on other feds, which I think is an amazing. What's that?
Then he got his dick chopped off.
Oh, don't even. Can we leave that in the past? That whole month was just trash.
I just remember leaving that up in there. I put it to the
Yeah.
Got together with Price and I'm gonna leave it up to you. Are we chopping it off, or I'm gonna let you make the call? It's like choppy.
It turns out you were. So the other thing we talked about
anyway
is what fixing the game might look like. And you did a lot of creative things. And before I let you talk about those creative things, because they were creative and good, and some of them could have worked but didn't work, and some of them shouldn't have worked but did work. First, we need to talk about the fact that letting you have a Fed might have been my worst decision ever.
Yeah, I remember there was talk of a vote. I don't remember being in on the vote. And I feel like I know what my vote would have been. And I just remember reading a list, and I don't know, I'd assumed you'd talk stuff over with Haley there, and you're really going to be committed to this. And
you guys were.
And then you gave us Hawthorne.
Did we give him to you? How did that happen? I thought you picked him.
No, there was no. It was just an assignment, and I'm pretty sure the kid was a pillhead. And the more I hear it, he was just undermining me the whole time. He was but trying to hit Price, and that's not.
Wait. Were you the one who told him that even though I earned the #1 contender spot, to not give Alan his title shot?
He wanted to do it, and I didn't overrule him.
You giant dude.
That was, yeah. So
I pumped actual activity into your Fed to get there.
The problems with Empire Wrestling probably should have never existed. We should have probably just come in with Evo X and Show X. I don't like the original list. Maybe that was enough, but it's going to drop off. And
yeah,
I was trying to be cool. The boners, they seemed like just innocent.
Innocent.
I think they were posting in a Rumble. Something, and they were just having fun, four talented guys, or two talented guys, and Stoner Boy, and Kansas Kid. No, I like Stoner Boy.
I especially actually really like his new character. So
he's terrific.
Read that silence how you will, Chris. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Geno is known for his silence. Don't read too much into it, but
I mean, you don't have to be a fan of you can't be a fan of everybody. I like this team. I don't have, I can appreciate that, but some teams aren't for me.
Hey, so I do it on Discord, so I'm going to do it here on the podcast. Hey, E, you posted a word I couldn't even begin to guess how to pronounce it in the live stream. I'm going to need you to go back and Gisappoimiher.
I feel like this is a show segment.
We might start doing it as a show segment. Come on, E. I told you I was going to get you Grammarly as a Christmas present, and then you said you were getting it. So let's get on that, because whatever that was, there was a squiggly red line under it to let you know it wasn't a real word. Fix that. You are not immune from podcast commentary. All right. So you have some ideas about fixing the game, or ideas about doing it differently.
Yeah, you guys were talking about different ways to end a match with Rude and relying on, not Rude, but Max.
Wait, hold on. Eric was quick to respond. I called him out. I beat him up. I'm going to circle back around to acknowledge. That's what I said. Welcome to the douche cast. All right. He said, disappoint her. And disappoint her are two words in English I can understand. I can't understand how you got the other word, which began with a G instead of disappoint. But I'm super glad you fixed it, Eric. Well done.
You know, you can edit those posts once you get them up, right?
It's so true. Editing is an option.
On some level, it's not proofreading. It's give a fuck. I fix my own typos like thinking and think and thing. I mix those up all the time, and
yeah.
I read it going, oh, I need to fix that, so I'm not like Chance.
That's terrible. You know,
ways to improve the Fed.
If Chance stops having those issues, you'll never win a match against him again.
And you know, I always like playing with he, she, it.
All right, let's circle back.
What are your pronouns, Chance? Let us know.
Let us know in the comments. That's right.
I don't want to use your dead name or anything. Let us know what's going on. Can we start that rumor that Eric's trans?
I think there are some other people we should start it on first.
I've started some pretty cool rumors. I know you play baseball, or used to. I don't know. I started the rumor that you played like old-timey baseball with no gloves and underhand pitching, like historical baseball. I don't know how far it caught on, but I tried to start a rumor.
That's hilarious. I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell me about some of your ideas.
Match endings. I feel like the booking a match ending instead of judging it, where, hey, I'm the booker of this match. Everybody send me in match endings. You know, the opponents or just a random person. You want to interfere and end this match. Like, I'm going to book what makes the most sense for the angles that are going.
Yep.
You know, it's probably going to be, you know, especially on, you know, Raw, you're building to the pay-per-view. I don't need a decisive ending. I need something that keeps the story going. I need the quick roll-up, or I need the manager did this, or I need, 1, 2, I kicked out, and they said 3 anyways, and I need something to keep the story going.
Right.
Because I don't give a shit about this random pairing, you know? That's,
yeah.
I mean, even if I give a shit about your characters, and I love you guys as writers, there's no heat, there's nothing. This is where we build the heat.
Right.
And I think most of these matches, maybe it's not even about building heat with you, it's about building heat with this guy. Or
right,
it's
the person who interferes, or
it's about building heat with Hank Hooligan. That's not even fucking here, you know? It's about something. And I think that, I don't know how many people remember when I had it's not that I had freedom. I was on, you know, nobody else was there to give a shit, but I don't know how much the player base that was still there. And I know Reality Check, whoever that guy was, he was pretty upset about it, and, you know, just accused me of being lazy and wanted, like, well, yeah, that's part. I ain't trying to judge 3 matches a week, dude. And I got, you know, this is too much upkeep. So every match I'm judging, this posts I'm not making is Geno. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's 100% legit. As a person,
match judging doesn't have its place,
right?
But it doesn't need to be every week, all the time.
No, I think you're right. And I think that came up in our last podcast. The guys were talking about the burnout, whether it's from the administrator side or whether it's from the player side, feeling like they had to write for the king of wrestling in every freaking match.
Or even just, it was a drag. I hated Midnight have to get that second post in by midnight so I get my bonus point. And if I don't get that bonus point, that, you know, if you don't get that bonus point, a lot of judges will use that as an excuse so they don't have to actually judge.
Yeah. Oh, you missed all your bonus points and he got all his. Oh, I got to give him the match. And
I mean,
let me tell you,
close, but
when you're
bonus points, I mean, what are you going to do?
When you're burning judges out, that is totally expected.
And I'm not, that's a trick I use, sure. You know?
100%. So
why does it have to be midnight? Why couldn't it be 3 a.m.? Like, is anybody judging except for fucking Mr. Smith in the OWC at 12:15?
Right.
Like, sleep on it, bro. Like, also, why is 2 the magic number? I can do, you know, let's do 3, 4 shorter posts. Are those?
Right. I know you've always been an advocate.
Harder to judge than 2 longer posts? Or those? Yeah. I feel like shorter posts, there's more interaction. There's just this
more back and forth, more stacking.
Yeah, it's mini rewrites, and I got to get my story in. And
so we're going to run up against time, especially because I still have to work tomorrow. I don't know about you.
I'm off.
Kind of, sort of. But there were a couple other things we wanted to talk about. So
we're saying part 2's TBA.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to come back and do part 2 because you've got a whole bunch more ideas. I think we should probably get Lars on that one, or maybe we'll get Price on. We'll see.
I'd like some other people to be there to discuss. I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. I feel like stepping out of just a wrestling fed.
Yeah.
And like the FedEx network, like the WWE network, they have different stuff on there. You can just do an introspective of a character, or just like out of character stuff, like they're on the road having fun. I mean, for FedEx, that could be, you know, the Benny show. Like, how crazy would that be? And he can do his 12,000 word fucking post, and people can read them or not read them, and it doesn't interfere with the Fed.
Right.
It can, you know, if Benny wants to come into the Fed and do Fed stuff, you know, that's fine.
Right.
It can be. I had a couple ideas here.
You did. You hit a couple, and one of them was like, you know, Ed taking people on the road wherever we land and going, "Come here, I'm going to teach you."
Acid Ed travel show, and he goes and partakes the local food and the drinks, and then he starts the big fight. Another couple.
That's what he does.
The Big Bang Theory. I don't know what they had Young Sheldon.
Right.
The spinoff. I feel like Young Acid Ed, where he's like punching Grandma in the face on Christmas. And
so you got it backwards. Where do you think you learned it? Grandma was punching him in the face.
Or yeah, maybe Grandma was the
hardcore.
I feel like a Johnny Rude, Wheelchair Eric movie, video game, TV review thing.
Right.
Like, they have good chemistry with each other. I mean, I still have beers here. I had a whole bucket, man.
I'm sure. Look at you with the bucket all set up. Hey, so what I do want to make sure of, because you've got some good ones.
It's a different change, but it's not really, because people are all doing their own stuff anyways. But it can be, let's emphasize it instead of this takes away from our Fed. Let's kind of ignore it. But
so I don't disagree. Listen, I love the creativity. I love the ideas. So many of them are outside the box. I would like to, we're going to do another podcast. We're going to get you back on planned. We're going to get some other people to come join us. We're going to talk about innovations for the game that will make it more sustainable.
I feel like I need to talk about the Kansas Kid.
Yeah. Before we leave, there's a couple of things I need you to talk about. And before we do our top 10, because we are going to get you to do a top 10.
Oh, geez, right off the top 10.
You wanted to talk about the top 10s of some other people.
Not
I'm pretty sure you wanted to talk about the absence of the Kansas Kid from some specific top tens.
Yeah, the top, like Benny. He wasn't in Benny's Fantasy Fed. He wasn't in Max's Fantasy Fed. You didn't. I really wish you would have asked old Titus Fox about that. But Titus traded Kansas Kid for me, so I know how he feels about Kansas Kid. A lot of people don't know this. He bitches about my activity level there. The clause in that trade, he could have switched back at any time.
I didn't know
Kansas Kid back.
And didn't.
Yeah. So
I
mean, some people like that type of comedy. I prefer like funny comedy.
Woof. Shots fired.
Hold on, I think I might have.
It's like watching a stand-up comic read his jokes.
I think that's all I got.
Well, then let's talk about your top 10.
Tony Gwynn. All right, my top. It's I think we had 15.
You want to go 15? I'll give you 15. What do you got?
I got about 30.
Of course you do.
I don't want to have a commish. I think that's a shitty system. I want a Powerbase.
Okay.
So, in all these, like, it's anybody on the Powerbase. I'm going to go more for the player than I'm including all your alts, everything.
Okay.
Grayson, Lars, Maverick, Keebler,
Ooh.
Geno. He was had good experience there and fun player. This is in no order.
Sure.
Chance.
I mean, I heard my name first. That's all I care about.
You quit listening after that. I do the same thing. Chance on my list does good. We've talked about that. Give me 20 chances in a Fed.
I'm hard against it, but if you mean Eric and you'll take Jake Price, I'll do that all day.
Yeah. Or if you want to have a women's division, like
right.
If
you just want to wrestle chips. Go nuts. That's right.
Eve Riley. I want Eve in my Fed.
So I'll take Nate Daniels all day.
Yeah, I'm Crusher. I want Crusher.
Yeah.
I know, took some crap, basically mostly because of the character he was running, and I don't.
Listen, the work that Mike did when he was on the Powerbase,
he wasn't really able to separate the douche from the man.
Right.
No, but he's welcome in my Fed.
Totally agree.
I don't want a 15-person Fed. That's not enough. Strife. You don't need to say more about Strife.
Right.
Stuntman, Cole Calhoun. I like guys who can play funny, play serious. Rude. I want Max Entropy. I think pretty much everybody on my list is going to be a Hall of Famer too, in some form or another. We got Max, XS, Static, who back in the day,
like real Static or Static as we played him. Okay.
I got told XS this, and like I recruited Static and XS into I wanted Static. XS hadn't quite figured his character out, but I would have pegged Static for the big star, but who knows? Carnage.
Carnage gets a lot of love.
He's just a greasy fella. Just sticks to you. Leaves a nice film to you. Stan Daniels.
Of course.
Marlowe.
Yep.
Reverend Future.
Yes, Rev. Frank.
Yeah. Doesn't get enough credit for good guy stuff.
100%.
Big part of it. And good guys. I feel like might have been the first guy to actually say good guy. I kind of steered that, I think, because it was oh no. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Alan Scott, Reverend Future, had turned heel. Rev turned heel. And we were, I think it might have been even Team SBFF versus Rev, and I feel like Weedman, Kieran Crow or somebody. And it was a beatdown. Rev turned and swerved. And I called the beatdown off. And, it looked like it was just going to be a heel turn. And then the fans were booing you guys. And I remember, how could you boo Reverend Future? How could you boo Alan Scott? What's wrong with you people? You people have turned heel. And I know I was the first guy to actually say good guy. But Rev steered a lot of that. I'm sure you have different.
Slightly different, but I'm sure there's somewhere on the boards that could answer the question. But I would say this, like, I thought that, so first of all, I think coining the term of being the good guy, I think I did earlier with Alan, because I had always played Alan from the perspective.
I know I said the talent first.
What's that?
I know I said the talent first.
100%. 100%. But Alan's gimmick was always like, why, how could you people be booing me? Like, I'm the good guy.
Are Geno and Alan, are they playing good douche, bad douche?
I think that's 100% the case.
Good douche, bad douche.
That's right. I love that you picked Rev. I'm actually going to email Frank and say, hey, you need to at least listen to this podcast and hear the love because you're fantastic.
Yeah, very, very underrated.
100%.
Did a lot and stepped out. He kind of slipped off and didn't keep going with it, but he changed his character up in a way that I didn't know if he was capable of. I got Biz, Royal Ryan. Got to have all the good guys on here. Emissary, Stoner Boy, for his behind the scenes stuff too. I'm including all this.
Yep.
Just kind of going by their most known. I'm talking about Chevy. I'd take him in my Fed. You need a guy like that. Vigilante.
Yes.
Holy Evil, Naked Man.
Yep.
This is where I'm starting to get into kind of like Cyber Slam.
Yeah, legendy territory. I got you.
Prototype. Douche for sure. Viz Major. Lars talked about him.
Yep.
My mentor for sure. Brought me into his group. Really taught me a lot of stuff, how to play. And name nobody really talked about. Cabo. He was in the barn. He's the guy that would like make you think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like he's like a lot of people make you mad. He was the guy that would make you think and make you mad at yourself. Somehow.
Right.
Paper Bag Man. I knew him as Zip-O-Matic before. Yep. Put the bag on his head. And I was on the board of doom when it was still like just like a little signature book where you'd sign. And that started. Widowmaker.
I remember Widow.
Commish.
Yep.
Mass Jobber. Everybody loves him. When I started, there were two guys that were the biggest stars. Stu Man, who was, won all the titles, and then there was the other guy who was like underground, kind of scary, kind of creepy. Comment Maker. Talked about him before.
Yep.
He kind of had that aura, and then it turned out he was a cokehead Domino's delivery guy, and went downhill from there because the internet was new, but the internet's still the internet.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I gotta say, maybe my favorite tag team partner, The Truth.
You're killing me.
Wasn't more successful, but it was just back in the day where, that was your bro. That was your brother. You guys went to war together, and you hated everybody else, and everybody hated you. And
by the way, I don't know if
truth,
everybody knows this.
Lars, I didn't tag with Viz Major. I tagged with the truth, the insiders. The Kronk and Grohl Express was LaCronca and Vile Venom. I gotta pee real bad, so let's
we're gonna wrap.
Real cool. Robbie talked about him. Streak Ender. My first big feud started with him. Sim. He beat me on the sim, and he called me a jobber in the pre-match comments. Oh, don't do that. So then I like 6 times in a row and all losses. So guess what? Then he called me a jobber on the board. Then it was over. Big swerves after that. We ended up kind of being friends and working together. And although he was my first kill on the board of doom, threatened to track me down. So I gave him my address.
So he went full dice on you?
Yeah, and it wasn't even something I did. Some other people were doing, he just assumed it was me because we just had so much heat. He swerved my stable. And then I went to another Fed looking for him. And then I told the commish, hey, I'm trying to get this guy. He was the commish.
That's awesome.
Then he got really mad at me because he's like, I've been busy, guys. They didn't have out of character boards. I've been busy, guys. I got a big promotion at work. I'll get to this. Nobody cares if you got promoted head cocksucker. Pissed him off so bad.
Missed the slam.
Oh, Cyber Slam.
That's right.
And finish it out, Mighty Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Heat Machine. And he got like Mighty Mark's All-Stars. And I remember like the black balls were like CEW hated him. And they just went there and took over. The guy I really want, I want him in FedEx. I want him on a podcast because it'd be fun. Ice Hog. Also, he could build us a site.
So first of all, I would not be against any of those things, including having him on the podcast. I'm certain we have very different memories of how we have $1 million price tag, but I'd be happy to have him on. So if somebody knows him, show him the podcast. Tell him Geno will lead the podcast. I'll just be a guest like he is. He doesn't have to worry about me having moderator control. All right. We're going to wrap, and we're going to wrap because we've already had one podcast where somebody was in the bathroom while we were podcasting, and we are not having two. Good to see you, pal. We'll come back on because we've got a ton more stuff to do. So at some point,
I got a big list.
We'll do Team SBFF podcast part 2.
Drink it in, and I drink, and I gotta drink it out.
That's right. See you.
Good stuff. Night. Bye.